That's more than gay and get along.
It is June the 30th. Welcome back. This is Paul Henry from one end of the galaxy to the other in New Zealand on Radio Live and TV3, but all around the galaxy on all the interweb devices. Sky Sport presenter Mel Robinson joins me. Mel, how are you? Good to have you back.
Thank you very much.
And Vernon Tava, lawyer and political commentator. Hi, Vernon.
Good morning.
Are you wearing makeup?
A little.
Now, let's talk about makeup on men, firstly. You'd be okay with it, wouldn't you? Because you're sort of metrosexual.
Well, you know, I'm not sure about that, but in feudal Japan, even samurai used to wear a touch of rouge if they'd been up till the wee hours on hitting the sake and they were called up for an early call. They'd, put a bit on to freshen themselves up. So
history's on our side. No, that's right. But you'd be up for it, wouldn't you?
Well, if you've got like a terrible big acca that's emerged on the morning of an important meeting, maybe.
Mel, what do you think?
It depends how you use it, really. I mean, Michael Laws used to turn up at our work.
Yes, he did.
A lot of mascara.
Yes, his eyes were very
he was famous for it, wasn't he?
Weren't they?
That was a bit strange. But you're right, if I went on a date with, not that I can because I'm married, but with a man, is it cover it up, thanks. I feel sorry for you guys. You get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you can't do anything about it.
What are you supposed to do?
We're going to look for the rest of the day.
That's right. Or for the rest of our lives, really. It just slowly deteriorates. How about the idea, though, that some men just... like last year, for instance, and Eddie Izzard, the comedian, is famous for it. In fact, I think he's transgender, is he?
He cross-dresses.
Cross-dresses. But, you see him and he's having just a decent old chat with you, and then he starts gesticulating and he's got lovely nail polish on his fingers and that, and you just think, it just pretties the world up.
It's a spectrum,
part of the rich
isn't it?
tapestry.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah. What sort of spectrum?
Well, from like fully dressed in women's clothing and nail polish at one end to...
No, it is a spectrum. Yeah.
I know a former All Black who gets Botox. Can't say the name, but so it just happens.
Yeah, exactly. Who's that then?
Can't tell you.
Whose name is it you can't say?
I'll get into big trouble.
All right. Let's talk about Nanny State. We had Chris Berg on before, who's a libertarian from Australia, just written this book. Now, I'm interested in this because I would imagine that, Vernon, your politics was the opposite to libertarianism.
I wouldn't say the opposite, but I am a little wary of these highly intellectual think tank sort of living in a bubble sort of thinking, because there is a great myth in New Zealand that we labour under way too much regulation, when in fact in a lot of really important areas of life, actually we're quite under-regulated. But there is a lot of stupid regulation. There is a lot of pointless stuff.
It's just knowing where do you draw the line, though, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, in New Zealand, we've got a lot of the laws are made for the really big companies, but 95% of companies employ less than 5 people, so you've got stuff that's meant to catch the big boys, but it catches everything else as well. So that is an issue that we need to deal with.
What Chris would argue is that there is just so too much regulation, that's what's causing the problems, that we should be freer, and that regulation is just standing in the way of us being ourselves.
Well, I'm quite passionate about proposed sugar regulation because New Zealand, a third of us from the 2013 Ministry of Health are obese and another 34% are overweight, and that's times 4 in impoverished areas. So I think you do have to have a bit of society change when it comes to eating bad food.
But you're not obese, so why should you have to pay a tax on sugar?
Have you seen my stomach? I am potato on sticks shape, trust me.
Really?
And I have to force myself to do exercise.
What's the name of that All Black?
But you're probably not buying a lot of sugary food either. But look, population's exploding, we're not taking very good care of our environment and so on. I think we are going to need to learn to live successfully as a species on this planet without killing ourselves. We are going to need to learn to tolerate a little more regulation.
It is a fine line, and one of the things that he's concerned about is that we tolerate far too much, and it's death by stealth from bureaucrats, really. We will remember that suggestion, and ironically it wasn't really a serious suggestion from Helen Clark, the light bulb suggestion, which some attribute to the failure of the Labor government at the election. Obviously, that was a road too far for society.
And when you're talking about regulating shower heads and so on, when you're getting into someone's morning shower, it might be a bridge too far, But we need to have sensible regulation, but we should always be wary of having too much.
The interesting thing is, it's completely unworkable, libertarianism. It's an ideal that you can make an interesting conversation, but just like communism, it is, in real terms, completely unworkable.
It tends to be supported by extremely wealthy people, I've noticed.
You go down to an impoverished area in
Not
Auckland.
Communism, by the way, he wasn't talking about.
And, it's environmental. You do have to give them a helping hand. a lot of people can break out of it in New Zealand, but a little bit of help.
And I do love it when its strongest proponents are people who've had free education, free healthcare all their life, and now say, well, that was good for me, but, now I think you should all pay for everything yourselves.
Oh, Vernon, it's so interesting how the socialists criticise those who are right. Vernon Tava and Mel Robinson are our panel this morning. We are back in just a moment. Welcome back. Great to have you with us. Our panel this morning, Mel Robinson, Sky Sport presenter, and political commentator Vernon Tava. Right, time for one more quickie. Super Rugby sellout. A lot of people, Mel, have been critical that, maybe the prices were too cheap. I think they hit it right on the button. I think it's brilliant that they're so affordable.
Yeah, so do I. And the key with this is that anyone that is a volunteer, coach, or involved in a rugby club always gets first dibs. So they're the ones
So they are okay?
Yeah, so people who have been loyal and stuck through and done the hard work, they'll get tickets. So it's great. It's great. Look, Trade Me for me, they've said it's a moral issue rather than legal because it's not a major event.
Yeah.
But that's rich because basically if you can see someone's profiteering, then make a stance either way.
Well, that's true. But, what they're saying is it's not illegal. So what right do they have to stop it?
Yeah, but don't mention the moralistic thing. Just say, look,
you're absolutely right. What do you reckon, Vernon?
Well, that's all they can say. But, it's a free market, and that's how it operates.
Yep.
That's what happens when you don't regulate.
It was hugely successful. At the end of the day, those tickets were out there. It was always going to be first come, first served. And thankfully, they've rummaged together another 5,000 that they're going to put on the market. Although some of those obviously are going to be deck chairs or something. I'll talk to Jim about that a little bit later. I don't like the idea of squeezing an extra 5,000 in. It's not a whole extra 5,000.
Sounds like a lot.
It
does. Where do they put them? I don't
sound
get
like
it.
a lot. We're not allowed to sit in the aisles.
Crammed in there.
Yeah. Well, they've done it before, though, haven't they, Jim? They've done it before.
39,800 for the Lions in 2005.
How many extra was that?
About another 5,000.
Another 5,000. But some of this 5,000 are corporates that are making them available. Anyway, talk more about that later. Thank you guys very much. Mel, Vernon, great to have you in. We'll see you again soon.